how can we negotiate differently? And this, for me, is really exciting because this new way to negotiate that we're going to unlock for you changed everything for me. I stopped looking at negotiations as adversarial, and I started to get excited about negotiations because when you come at it from a different lens, you see more opportunity and ultimately a better outcome for both parties.
And some of the things we're going to be discussing here is that you can get creative with negotiations. There's tons of things that come into play here.
Now, of course, we love science. We've talked about the Harvard happiness research. Well, today we're going to talk about the Harvard Negotiation Project. In 1979, William Ury and Roger Fisher and their teams at Harvard Law School started researching negotiations all around the world. They wanted to see how negotiation could be improved and ultimately translated into a better framework that, of course, they could teach their lawyers who are going through law school, but ultimately to create better dynamics when we have to go into these situations to negotiate. And of course, this is a massive project that's still ongoing. Now, today we're going to focus on how to create a bigger pie. So it's not a win-lose. We're not fighting over a zero-sum game, but instead we are unlocking other opportunities that the other person going into the negotiation may not have even thought of to create a win-win dynamic. Their ideas surrounding negotiation were exactly that. How can we increase the pie? So when we talk about splitting, both sides leave the negotiation feeling that they got more than they even went into the negotiation looking for. You could imagine how that changes the dynamic. If I go into the negotiation hoping that I'm going to get $50 for the office chair, and Sam from Craigslist is hoping to get $20 for the office chair, but at the end of the negotiation, I get $30 from Sam, but I get another $25 gift card to Target that allows me to buy some new paper for the office, and Sam gets rid of that gift card that really didn't have any value to him. He's not shopping at Target. We've now created a dynamic where there's a greater pie to be split, and both of us can feel like we're winning. So how do we do this? And negotiation tactics, as we said at the start, are skills that we want to build up through practice. So as we unpack this negotiation strategy, we highly encourage you to go out and look for more opportunities to negotiate.
I think that's one of the great things about the show is we can figure out unique opportunities to practice this stuff where you're not going to have to wait till the first time you're in negotiation to then listen to this podcast and brush up on it so you can go in and nail it tomorrow. That's not what this is about. This is about incorporating some mindsets that are going to allow you to be successful, whether you're in negotiations or whether you're just hanging out with your friends, because it's always going to be a conversation. Lots of things come down to negotiations.
And let's be honest, when resources are scarce, your ability to negotiate becomes even more valuable. So instead of fighting over who gets the biggest piece, we want to increase the pie so that everyone feels like they're winning. And of course, this is going to involve some emotional intelligence. This is going to involve some empathy because we need to make strategic use of the simple fact that people have different needs, interests, resources, values, and so on. And the more that we could take into account these variables when we are in a negotiation, the greater likelihood there will be that we could create the win-win that everyone is looking for. Let's go back to this negotiation with our web development team. Because as we said, when we created a win-lose or concession-based negotiation strategy, it didn't lead to the results that we were looking for. How could we, thinking about the Harvard Negotiation Project, potentially go at this from a different direction? Well, first off, we have to realize that there are more resources that the Art of Charm is bringing to the table than just dollars and cents. We have exposure. We have the ability to refer them to new business. We have plenty of opportunity to help support the web development team outside of just compensating them with money. But If all you're doing is going into that negotiation looking for the lowest amount of money that you can spend and only thinking on those terms, well, you're not making use of all these other resources that we outlined. You're not making use of our network. You're not making use of our traffic. You're not making use of our footer to link to the design team. There are a lot of things that we could bring to the table that aren't just money. So how could we have potentially helped the web development team feel like they got more out of the deal than the actual price that was quoted to us? Well, you can imagine we have friends that also need websites, that also need their stuff redesigned. So coming to the table and pooling those resources and saying, hey, my buddy also needs a website. What do you say you knock out both of these websites? So we're bringing new business to the table that the web development team would have to pay resources for to try to chase and find. That's one option. Another option that we could have done to give them some more value and some more clips and some more exposure could have been offering to put a link to their design team in the footer of our website.
Yep.
Knowing that we get millions of visits every month, some of those visits are probably people who are excited about our web design and might be interested in also utilizing our design team. These are all options that you need to think about before you actually sit down to negotiate. All right, that's what I meant by having high emotional intelligence. We have to start paying attention to other items and other resources that are available to us that have value to the other person. And when we start thinking about it from a value perspective, as we've talked about on this show, value is not just the money you have in your bank account. There are a lot of things that humans value, and they don't all have monetary values associated to them.
Well, once again, it comes back to attention, approval, and acceptance. If you think about value in those terms, then there's multiple ways of growing the pie.